Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin Show, Part 2. Today is November the 25th, 2019. Strong hand, unconfiscatable. Bitcoin is next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. Deferral of gratification, conviction, and of course, in motion. Yeah, dudes, I am really in motion. So a lot of you are saying, hey, what happened with your Beyond Bitcoin show on Saturday? It got cut off. You were outside. It was awesome. Yes, it was. The computer was not plugged in. It ran out of battery time, but the free Wi-Fi was great. So I had a lot more to talk about, and you guys had a lot of questions. So I have enough for another show, and I'm making the most of a bad situation being cut off, and I'm preparing the show in advance. So I'm on a plane right now, probably, or in an airport somewhere, getting back to Baltimore. But you guys are enjoying part 2, unprecedented part 2 of a Beyond Bitcoin show. Remember, play this at 2x, okay? Because it's a lot of stream of consciousness here. If I watch it, I play everything at 2x because I value my time. I value my wealth in Bitcoin. Pound that like button. Check out This Week in Bitcoin at disruptmeister.com. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TECHBALT. Check out part 1 of the Beyond Bitcoin show. It was fun, a lot of fun. And also, This Week in Bitcoin with Zach Boll, so you can learn how to get a job in the Bitcoin space. Hello, my elite friends. All right, guys. All right, so where did I leave off beforehand? I talked about Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. And I want to, before I say this, politics, it's mostly a waste of time. Do not value your wealth in political candidates. Do not waste your time or your money throwing money at them. And there are a lot of men out there that are throwing money at Pete Buttigieg. And he is very good at fundraising. And he appeals to a demographic. I think gay men feel there's never been an openly gay president, so a lot of them feel the need to throw money at this dude. Gay men out there, if you don't have any kids and you don't have a spouse or whatever, you got a lot of extra money, you shouldn't be giving it to Pete Buttigieg, okay? He economically isn't looking out for you, okay? He will tax you. You should be buying Bitcoin instead of, but you're not going to listen to me. Dude, many gay men are not going to listen to me. A lot of them get caught in the emotion of, let's first gay president. Oh, it'll be so great. Let me just give money to him instead of buying Bitcoin. It's truly $2,000 to Pete Buttigieg does nothing except help Pete Buttigieg. You should be buying Bitcoin with that $2,000. Who knows what that will be worth in 4 years at the end of Trump's term? Well, we will see. So let's talk specifically about an issue that's come out with Pete Buttigieg that the media seems to, and so you can learn a lot from politics, though. I do want to say this. If you analyze politics as a way of looking at the way the 80%ers think, the way the 80%ers get emotional, how the media manipulates, who the media likes, what the media thinks of certain demographic groups, you can learn from politics that way. And if it makes you a stronger hand, a longer term thinker, someone who knows not to waste their time on this, but just to get to garner important information from this that is not apparent, that it's not obvious. So I'm going to talk about how you get some important information that I have gotten out of this entire situation. And it's good to know it's good to learn what mainstream society is thinking, what they supposedly care about, their feelings over facts type of ways. So Buttigieg, he's young, he's smart, he's gay, and he can raise a lot of money. And he has, a lot of people at the first were like, oh, he's raised all this money, he's not gaining the polls. Well, the money has bought support at this point. Yeah, people fall for. They get all these flyers in the mail. They see they know his name now. For name recognition, the advertisement stuff is good. So it's been working for him, and he doesn't go out. He does not act flamboyant or anything like that. So white working class people, they see a smart guy who was in the army. They give him respect. He's from the Midwest. They give him respect, and so he's doing well in the Iowa polls and in New Hampshire, which are white states. These are white states, but what the media is bringing up, and because the media, the white-dominated media, because most people in media are white, but they hate themselves, and they don't want there to be a white. They want to now. Most media isn't men per se, or maybe most is men, but there's a lot of women. Mainstream media does not want to have a white male Democrat candidate. Okay, they can't stand it. They can't stand it. And so this guy, even though he's gay, it's too much. He's too clean cut. They are not. So they are bringing up something happened in South Bend. He had an issue with black people once. I don't even know what it is. If you're in charge of a city that has a large black population, you're going to get into different demographic groups. You're going to have issues. There are going to be issues sometimes. They're not going to be happy with you all the time. I don't know what exactly happened. It's just like saying when Martin O'Malley ran for president. He was the mayor of Baltimore. He was the governor of Maryland. People could have brought up that he had issues with black people at times. They didn't because he was a total non-contender. He would have been better off running now. And by the way, if Pete Buttigieg wasn't gay, he would just be Martin O'Malley, but a smarter Martin O'Malley that was in the army. Okay, so let's get to the point. He's not going to be able to shake this black thing. I mean, black people are not voting for him. They are not. So in order to win the Democratic nomination, you have to have support from black people. You can't lose all the states, South Carolina and all these other states. You need the support of black people. Now, right now, Biden has it, but who knows what will happen. And the media, they're not too keen on him either. Now, but it's Buttigieg they hate more. They hate more. So I shouldn't say they're not. I think they would allow him to become the nominee. They would allow Sanders to become the nominee because he's a straight up communist, but he isn't going to be it. But I mean, it's the media. You'd have to think they want it to be a woman. They want it to be or Kamala or the what's her face or but there's no legitimate black man. But here's what Buttigieg has to do. If he wants to go around the media, and this is an idea because you also have to take into account in politics right now in the Democratic field. I think I'd say about half the people are running for vice president at this point. Okay, and Cory Booker is definitely one of those guys. Cory Booker is not going to get the nomination to become the Democrat. He's a black guy, and he's a Rhodes Scholar apparently. But he's not getting the nomination. He's running out of money, while this Buttigieg is just swimming in money. So keeping in mind the vice presidential thing, Buttigieg should go to Booker, and they've had arguments and stuff apparently, from what I've heard. But be like, hey, dude, you're not becoming president. You want to become vice president. I know you don't like me, but but let's do something unprecedented and say, Cory, you're dropping out of the race, but you're my vice presidential nominee right now. Right now, it's starting now. We're doing this early. No one's ever done this before. And so then, all of a sudden, now I would assume Cory Booker has a tremendous ego and won't want to be the won't want to like give it up right now to this guy, a guy he might feel is inferior to him. But if he could drop his ego, I think it would work. I think it would work. I think black people would say, well, wait a second here. This Buttigieg, he's promising us Booker as the vice president. That's his black card. That's good enough. I don't want to demean black people. Right? And there are many smart black people out there. But among the voting class, all these, the voting class of all races, okay, it's all superficial nonsense. So this will get many many black voters like, okay, that's good enough for me. There's a black face there. They'll be the first black vice president. Ooh, how nice. Okay, this time we couldn't have a black president. We'll have this gay guy, you know, but at least Corey will be there. And like the way they could go about marketing themselves too is like, we're going to be a president and vice president, but we're not going to agree all the time. It'll be like in the old days when it was like George Washington and John Adams or Thomas Jefferson and all that. When the vice president and the president didn't necessarily get along, they were of different parties back in the day. Things have changed since then. We're not going to get into the history of all that, but it would be more like that instead of, you know, and it would bring also, you know, in 1980, Ronald Reagan and George Bush did not like each other at all. People forget this. If you look at the history books, I mean, I didn't know that, but if you look at the establishment wanted Bush to become the president of the United States. But Ronald Reagan was an outsider, and he was favored by the people. And Ronald Reagan, and they argued all the time in the debates, and Ronald Reagan let him be the vice president, I guess, as a consolation to the. But I don't think they ever liked. I doubt they ever liked each other. But so this would be something like that, and Bush understood that, like, you know what, I don't like this guy, I'll put up with it, and then I could become president one day. And he did become president one day. And so Booker, but again, they didn't announce their partnership early on. They had a forced partnership much later on. This would be something very, very unique. Now, would this then, would other candidates all of a sudden pair up? Who knows? Who knows what would happen? But I'm going to say this. The media and so many people in the Democratic Party are obsessed with they don't like white men. They do not like white men, and they don't want one they think that's a horrible representation of the Democratic Party. It's racism against white men. It's really disgraceful. But hey, they can do what they want to do. I will say this: if they're logical, and most of them are just totally emotional, in order to beat Donald Trump, you're going to have a white man. Okay, you really are. Because the people in Wisconsin, the people in these Midwest states, these working class men, Kamala Harris, they go, oh, I want her to be my leader. I mean, or what's her face? Elizabeth Warren. I want her to be. Look at her. You think a beer drinking man is going to vote for her? They will vote for Buttigieg. They will. They'll forget about he doesn't present himself as because a lot of you are going to say, well, beer drinking men don't like gay men. Probably. But he doesn't present himself that way at all. And he's a Midwesterner, and he is associated with them. Okay, so we spent a lot of time on talking about that. Politics is all about gimmicks and marketing. It's lowest common denominator type of stuff. But this is giving you some insight into like the general feel of the general population of something they care about, of this soap opera. So I'm giving the players in the soap opera, Booker and Buttigieg, a little advice there if they want to. That would be a big threat to Trump, because also Buttigieg's debating Trump. He could do that. The others, oh my God, I think Trump would really humiliate. Imagine if Biden actually becomes the nominee. I seriously doubt he will, because of the dislike, partially because of the dislike of white men, but also because I think people are saying that they're going to vote for him now because they never heard him speak. He doesn't make much sense anymore from the clips that have been brought to my attention. Again, I don't waste too much time but it is an exercise in studying the psychology of voters. Again, when I talk about elections and voting, it just shows how frivolous it is and superficial it is, and how glad I don't value my wealth. I know they don't control me. They don't control me. I control myself. It doesn't matter who is president. I'm just giving some advice there based on frivolous demographics that people seem to care so much about, this superficial, what the guy looks like, what they have below the belt, if it's a man or a woman. Okay. You should pick the best. This is not what politics is about. The best it's not what it's about. Okay. Oh, so the black mulberries. I keep talking about those black mulberries. I mentioned them at the end of yesterday's show, at the end of the part one of this show. I'm bringing it. I love to eat them since I was a kid. And I did mention jokingly on another show that I think they can serve to soften your bowels if you're constipated. And they do, actually. They do. And I actually, I noticed the benefits of that. So, but I'm bringing this up again because there are a lot of people out there that believe in colon cleansing. And by the way, I don't believe in, there are people out there that think stuff gets stuck in your colon and is rotting away there, getting you sick for years and years and years. I don't believe that. I don't believe that you swallowed some gum when you were 6 and it's still in there and you need a special colon cleanse. You have to pay $50 for some liquid and drink it. Fruit cleanses your colon constantly, okay? You eat some fruit every once in a while, it'll move some of the stuff out of there. Even if you eat tons of bad food, and don't eat tons of bad food, it doesn't get stuck there. It does make you sick when it's in there. It might take a little longer to get out, but it gets out of you. It gets out of you. It might not react well. It might inflame your colon, but it's not stuck in there. So this whole colon cleansing thing, I don't believe in, as in it's like getting stuff that was been in you for 20 years, okay? But to keep things moving smoothly and at a regular rate, and so there is no inflammation, try out the mulberries. It's free. It's free. You're not paying some dude for some $50 concoction out there that probably does nothing. There's little makes little to no difference. And just eating an apple would do the same thing as those concoctions out there that people are talking about, all this colon cleansing, and I don't buy the colon cleansing stuff. I believe you can just do it with fruit, and mulberries seem to be really good at that. So let's talk about keto real fast. We talked about how Carl Denninger said keto can keep people healthier, or get rid of flu. And I do believe in a high fat, mid-level protein, low carb. You don't have to necessarily get into ketosis, but it is good for you. It keeps you healthy. And getting into ketosis every once in a while is a good thing. Or being constantly in it seems to be a very good thing too for people. I think the biggest takeaway is if you eat a lot of processed sugar stuff, you're going to be sick. How about that? That's instead of saying, well, keto is going to cure you, a bigger guarantee, a more likely scenario is eating all the processed food and sugar is going to get you sick. Now, sugar from fruit, that's different, okay? That is different than, Rice Krispies and nonsense and bread. Now, I'm not saying to be a fruitarian or anything, but I want to bring up a specific example of my own life. I do like to, when I do on my sprint days, I have mentioned this before, the day I do my interval training, I only have afterwards, I'll have my one meal of the day, and it will have the least amount of fruit for the whole week. It might only be like a small orange or 2 small oranges or a small orange and some strawberries. Very, very low. Something that would keep you in ketosis if you were already in ketosis. So I decided to time it this week so that my sprint day would be the day before I leave, so that I will go into my way over 48-hour fast, starting with my sprint day meal with very little carbs in me. So, and part of the reason is because I have a lot of bananas left. So I would have finished them all at once today. All right. And so instead of going into my fast with a bunch of fruit in me, more so than usual, I'm going to do the complete opposite and go into a fast, a longer than 48-hour fast perhaps in a state of ketosis, who knows, but with very, very low carb. Usually I don't go into my long fast the day after I do my sprints. I don't think I may have never done this before. Will it make that bigger difference in my life and my health personally? Because I fast all the time. No, it probably won't. But it is an interesting something to consider if you're doing a longer fast and you want to get into ketosis for your last meal to be as low carb as possible and to do your interval training that day, so that the so-called, I don't want to say damage, the not so great factors that a bunch of fruit brings upon you will be canceled out. Okay, fast. That will be canceled. My bananas will be canceled out faster doing this. Okay, I think I've really rambled on about that one too much. But people like to hear different techniques of mine. And there, I'm trying a little bit of a different technique. And no, don't eat a bunch of bananas all the time, because you actually will gain weight if you eat. Bananas are really they are heavy in terms of carbs. How about that? Here is something that some of you privacy people will care about. Breaking. And if you're watching this taped and you don't like a subject matter, please be playing this at 2x and be willing to jump around. I know not everyone likes to hear about fasting. Not everybody wants to hear about politics. This is beyond Bitcoin. Again, if you only want to hear about Bitcoin, then don't even watch this show, because this is the Beyond Bitcoin show. There might be a little bit more crypto talk in here. Who knows? I don't know what I have on my schedule. But here, this story actually broke a few weeks ago. I've been meaning to bring it up. And now that I got this extra part 2 of a show to do, I got the opportunity. So enjoy. A federal judge has ruled that suspicionless searches of travelers' cell phones, laptops, and other electronic devices when we cross the U.S. border are unconstitutional. Yay. This is an enormous victory for privacy. Up until now, the government has had unfettered access to search travelers' electronic devices when they enter the U.S. Going forward, the judge said searches must require reasonable suspicion, a much higher standard that the devices contain contraband. That's pretty cool. If this is true, I haven't heard that much more about this, because I guess the media doesn't care about. I care about things like this. I don't want to. When I entered Canada once, they searched my laptop and they had no reason for doing so. So I really want them doing that in America, and apparently they can't do that in America anymore. So that is good. For all the people that are worried about their trésors being searched, I guess this means they can't get into them unless they suspect that you're some dealer of narcotics. I don't know. But most of us, they don't have reason to think that we're narcotics or any sort of dealer. I mean, there's no going for this require reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion. Most of us, there is, for me, reasonable suspicion that I'm have something to do with narcotics. There's none at all. None at all. So I don't anticipate my laptop ever being searched by. It's never been searched by the Americans. I don't keep crypto on there, first of all, but I wouldn't like that to happen. To be held over, have your laptop searched. So this is good for journalists, because journalists have been they've had some issues apparently. All right, that's linked to below. Auto expenses and cars are major places where welfare dollar inflation has been noticed. Okay, cars go up; their prices go up every single year. So those of you who are addicted to the welfare dollar and have to keep up with the Joneses, and who don't like there are a lot of people that say that the United States can't keep on printing the dollar because it causes inflation. And I say it causes inflation in things like that welfare dollar people care about, like cars and fixing their cars. Well, there you go. There's my example. So for me, a guy who doesn't have a car, it's just like I'm eating my popcorn and watch, and I don't value my wealth in dollars. Dollars are not for savings. Dollars are not for savings, but there are a lot of people that save in dollars and then have to keep up with the dollar in inflationary products like cars, because they need to get the newest and greatest one. And so my point is, and people are just willing to accept it. They keep on accepting it. The 80%ers, they don't complain that the dollar keeps on getting printed, and because they keep on getting these cars, and they keep on coming up with new ways to get into debt to buy these cars also. So again, this is another example that the dollar printing and the current welfare dollar system that rules the world, it's going to keep on going. So go to this link below. More creative finance. No. So this link below you can look up the year you were born and how much a car cost back then. And in terms of, and just you can see the 80% of inflation that has happened in cars, and how no problem at all. The system will continue. But it's interesting to see how much cars cost the year you were born, and how much prices change for this because people keep on. They have no problem with the system. All right. Here are two headlines from Drudge, and one explains the other. Richest 1% close to surpassing wealth of entire middle class. Second headline is more borrowers going underwater on car loans. All right, so the richest 1%, they don't live their lives that way. The middle class, they keep on going into greater and greater debt on car loans. Thus, the richest 1% is close to surpassing the wealth of the entire middle class, because the middle class is opting into situations when they're getting rid of their wealth. So of course, and the 1%ers, they know how to retain their wealth and use their wealth to get more wealth. So they're going in opposite directions. But you don't have to hate the 1%. It's your own fault if you're borrowing, more borrowers going underwater on car loans. You don't need the latest and greatest car. You don't need the latest and greatest form of debt financing for cars. You don't need that. And that's bringing the middle class down. They're opting into it, and the 1% have nothing to do with stuff like that. So that's why you have that statistic. They're very much related. But people want to blame the 1%. The people who go in the car debt, they can't take responsibility for themselves. And because of that, the car prices will keep on going up, as I said before. And the welfare dollar isn't going anywhere, because people would rather blame the 1%, and they'd rather go into car debt than, in fact, changing their ways and using the dollar as a tool to get real assets. They don't want real assets. They want fake assets so they can brag to their friends about their fast car. Some sides, there are more than two sides to a story. And it takes a thinking person to find the other options. And also, in a large enough population or a large enough situation, there are going to be multiple correct answers. But you're just going to have to think. And I bring this up because the media likes to simplify things. Either you hate Trump or you like Trump. Either he's evil or he's the greatest thing. And there's nuance to so many. There's so much nuance to so many arguments out there. You know, at times there's a 1 or a 2, but usually, if you're a thinking person, you can say, well, I like that policy and I like that, but you can pick and choose different people. You don't have to be so set in your ways, because you're not thinking. You're blindly following. When you think there are only two sides to a certain issue or two sides to a story. At times there can be, but just use your head. And so many people are blindly buying into stories now. They are just blindly buying into them. And I think the people who succeed the most are the ones that are like, okay, well, that side's got a point, this person's got a point. And maybe side one is right, but the other ones aren't Satan. And 10% of side two is right also. All right. So, and oh, look, there's a third. The real answer isn't what the mainstream media, aren't the options that the mainstream media is putting out there. There's a third answer. You got to think. Always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Here's a tweet from Nibal. A society that believes that wealth is created through lack of privilege, through luck or privilege, will eat itself alive. A society that believes that wealth is created through luck or privilege will eat itself alive. Well, I think we are living right now in a society that believes that wealth is created through luck or privilege, which is incorrect. Which is incorrect. Are we eating ourselves alive? We don't. The general society as a whole doesn't have much of a brain left. It's a brain-eating disease, but we're still alive. Society will go on. Society, the modern society that we currently live in this golden age, where there's so many comforts, where the welfare dollar rules, it won't fall apart. There can be plenty of haters that believe in those rumors. As long as the 20%ers keep on producing and they understand, they know how to keep on creating wealth, we'll be fine. At least 20. And let the people in debt go more into debt and keep on hating. That sustains them for some reason. I don't understand it, but whatever. So society, I have a more positive outlook, but I do agree with the basic premise of that statement that it's unfortunate when society believes that wealth is created through luck or privilege, when society has gone down a rabbit hole that much, but it has, and that's why these demagogues can win elected office, because the 80%ers, the people who don't produce, think I'm going to vote for this person and all my problems are going to be solved. The wealth will be redistributed. The luck of the wealthy will come to me. Buttigieg will bring me the luck of the wealthy, and they're wrong. Safadine says, your wealth, like your health, is largely the consequence of decisions you and your forebears took. It is not a score in a game against others. Okay, so that's don't income inequality. Don't be jealous. You don't have to. It shouldn't bother you that Bill Gates makes more money than you. Hating people richer than you, he goes on to say, is exactly as dumb, counterproductive, and detestable as hating people healthier than you. Hating on people who stole their wealth is, and this is a little different, hating on people who stole their wealth is as helpful to you as hating on people who gain their health. You're better off learning to shut up and focus on yourself. Exactly. There are people who stole wealth, okay? There are people who steal and trick other people and scam people. Don't worry about them. Don't obsess over them. Don't try to say all rich people are like them. You worry about yourself and you figure out how to get rich, okay? Shut up and focus on yourself, he said. I like that. I'm talking about the golden age we live here in the modern society, and social media affecting politics, and politics just becoming a really tremendous, not thinking soap opera. And if you look back in time, you can remember in the early 90s when news was pretty pure. News was news, okay? Drama started entering news, okay? O.J. Simpson, Nancy Kerrigan. There's the dividing line between gossip and news started to slowly go away. But still, you had your news stations and they were the source of truth. TV was the source of truth. So, you had some drama creeping in, but you still had the news. And then the internet it came about in the late 90s, should we say. And at first it wasn't legit at all. But then it became more and more legitimate, and the main players in the traditional news and drama space had to understand the internet. And people started getting news from there. And there was more drama started coming to TV, more superficial stuff to catch people's eye, because the internet was taking away pure news from people. But we still had politics, and politicians still relied on the TV, what those talking heads said. Sure, they threw some more drama into it, some more mindlessness into it, but the cable TV, the main TV stations, that still had so much influence over the elections. You didn't have to put too much money in the internet. And then finally, the final evolution, the internet is like dominating politics. I don't exactly know when it happened, but I guess it had to start around the time of Trump. And now this election, I mean, the old players want to regulate the internet, want to censor the internet. So they go back to TV. So they get back into the drama that TV is now. CNN is just, all that is, that news is just drama now. It's just pure emotion. It's pure bias. In the days of Peter Jennings, it wasn't emotion. He might have been a little biased at times, but it wasn't flamboyance in terms of being biased. I mean, now it's just in your face. There's no shame about it because there's desperation all around. Because anyone out there can go on the internet. Anyone can pay for advertisement on the internet. Anyone can get on Dave Rubin's show. Anyone can get on really little shows. It's the decentralization of news sources. And it's having a tremendous effect on the people who value their wealth in politics. And it could really rearrange. It's already rearranged things in a major way by having Trump as president, because he is not from that political class. He's not. I mean, I'm not saying he's a good guy or anything like that. But we're in the wild, wild west here, and all sorts of entities are trying all sorts of things to censor. And you got to admire guys like, on a certain level, like Zuckerberg, who won't allow these people to say who he can take money, who he can accept advertisements from. So it has been such a wild evolution since O.J. Simpson and the internet started becoming big, and TV started. You look back on the 60s, the news, that was all there was. There's 3 stations. That's how you got their news. And so if they were lying about something, that was it. Now nothing like that could ever happen again. It's cool. And I will say that keep on, even if you don't like certain people out there, allow them to have their voice. Allow them to have your voice. The censoring stuff is emotional nonsense, but it's catching on. It's catching on among the youth. They don't believe in freedom of speech. At a time, it's tragic, because we are now living in a time where we have the ultimate freedom of speech from the internet, where people can't just say, well, I can't get my word across anymore to a lot of people because the 3 main TV stations, they don't believe in my third opinion. Well, if you've got a third opinion now, you just throw it out there on the internet. That's just the beauty. But definitely so this 2020 election, they are spending much on social media and much on internet advertising. And this was something in 2012 that was not even a thing in 2012 or 2008 especially. So are we going to enter a time in 2024 when TV is just a total joke, and newspapers are a total joke when it comes to politics, where it's going to all be the internet? We will see. We will see what happens. Rules of engagement on Twitter. Rules of Twitter engagement. Pound that like button, first of all. What is this? This is from Woo Mick. Okay. Rules of Twitter engagement. Do not respond to negativity. Do not feed the trolls. Continue to provide value. The tables will turn in due time. Your time is too valuable. Trolls squander their time in addictive crud. A losing trade. Time is the only scarcity. That and Bitcoin. There you go, people. That's create. Trolls don't create. They destroy. I'm like that with people who say they want to destroy altcoins. You're basically trolling altcoins at that point. It's a waste of time. Let people create. Don't be a troll. And if you are a creator, you're going to encounter trolls. Ignore them. Ignore. And so you can. And I know sometimes you're tempted. I have a policy. I don't reply to trolls in the comment section. And it just says a lot about you when you have trolls. You mean something. They destroy. All they do is destroy. They create nothing. They get pleasure out of wasting people's time. So Twitter, especially, I don't participate in those long Twitter conversations. I just learn from it. and I post on there. I post so people find out about me. I love to retweet good ideas. I'm creating. In every aspect, I'm promoting people to be producers in life. Producers in life. Don't be a troll. Ignore the trolls so you can produce more. And don't if you're a Bitcoiner and don't worry about the altcoins. Keep on producing on the Bitcoin side. Don't troll the altcoins. Don't try to mine altcoins just to destroy them. That's such a waste of resources. All right, we're almost at the end of the show. And wow, a Pew Research Center report found that self-employed Americans and the people working for them together accounted for 30% of the nation's workforce, or 44 million jobs in total in 2014. And this is actually still true in 2019, I believe. I linked to a 2019 thing. So I shouldn't even say the 2014 part about it. But here's the deal. 30%, that's very close to 20%. And they said that 30% number is not just the people that started their own business, but the people that are working under them too. So this kind of gives me hope. I know not all 20%ers are self-employed, and it's not about that. But if 20% of the nation can be self-employed, that's very impressive. That's very impressive, and it should give you guys hope. If you think you're a 20%er and you're tired of working for the man, look, 20% of the nation is self-employed and starts their own business. There still is that entrepreneurial spirit among 20% of the nation. Again, it's that magical 20% of the and it should give you hope for those people that are a little down and they're thinking, oh, I'm never going to be able to not work for someone else. But 20% is a large number. 20% producers, that's what keeps the world running. Okay, so it's a large enough number that you could really be a part of the 20 to 30% of the people who are self-employed. So I'd like to bring up when I see familiar numbers like that. Finally, we'll talk about ThinkSpot, the Jordan Peterson. We're talking about social media before. We're talking about censorship before. He wants to create a social media platform where free thinkers can just post anything and where other people can comment, and it might have something to do with cryptocurrency. And people have asked me about it. It's ts.today. It still is in beta. You still need a beta invite, but I am getting email. I am not on it yet because I have not gotten a beta invite. But apparently there are people on it, and and people ask me about it, so I'm going to leave you with this update that they sent over email that many people don't know. All right, thank you for continuing to wait patiently to join ThinkSpot. Our team is working hard to complete the initial platform development as we build our community. Our media library currently has over 10,000 hours of audio content and thousands of videos, including many ThinkSpot exclusives and live streaming events. All registered users can access the majority of content on ThinkSpot for free. And we are in the process of developing new features during our beta period that allow our users to publish various types of content. We are continuing to onboard new users each week and are on track to achieve our goal of extending invitations to everyone on our wait list by the end of the year. Once our beta period is complete, we will remove the wait list and open our platform to everyone. So, okay, there are people on it now. It's clearly not many people. It's clear they are taking their time about it, which is good. They want to have a polished product, and that eventually everyone will be able to get on it. So right now, if you're on it, you're very lucky, but they do have a wait list. You should sign up for the wait list because maybe you'll get an early chance to get on and play around with it. Clearly, I haven't. So I wish them all the luck in the world. They seem like they're going about this in a smart, slow, not impulsive way, long-term thinking type of way. They want to have a product that is smooth. They are deferring gratification by not allowing everyone on there. So you should defer gratification, be patient. I hope it's great. I really hope it's great. I hope it challenges YouTube. I hope it gives me another platform for this type of stuff, for my podcast, for the visual stuff, everything. And again, I thank Anchor again for the podcast. Go to sportsmeister.com if you want to listen to all my podcasts, by the way, which are just the YouTube videos turned into podcasts plus some extra audio for you. Okay, that is it, guys. I'm flying on a plane. I'm on my way back to Baltimore. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, I know it's Monday. You're not supposed to get a Beyond Bitcoin show. It needed a part 2. We'll be back to the regular One Bitcoin show on Tuesday. I will be tired as anything. And then we'll be back to total normal on Wednesday. And yes, things are not normal all over the world right now because it's Thanksgiving week and lots of Americans are taking off. Consider an opportunity to get your voice out there because there's not as many loud Americans on social media taking up a bunch of space. You should take up more space now, okay? Pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Subscribe to the channel. Click on the squares. Pound that like button. Have fun. See ya.